Hey there, everyone, Patapon and Saucepans, as well as everyone else who might want to listen in. Time to listen to me to talk in complete silence for an hour because it's the mostly 2024 Raocow Games Matching Tournament thing. Basically, 2024 and change game in review. And change because contest organizer and commissioner Pizza Pony wanted to get 32 games in to have nice brackets going. And so now is the time where I will go through and make my own sort of like ranking of the games down the tournament line. For the contest, remember, no, there are top prizes for top three. Whoever participated, if you are Patapon, but look, if you're watching this on YouTube, it's now too late. It's too late now. You can't participate. Well, especially now that I'm putting the results out there. I'm recording these a little bit in advance. But yeah, so I'll be looking at the different pairings of the different games I played, and I will sort them by which one I preferred. A reminder that this is in no way objective. It is purely my thoughts at this moment in time, right now. This can change. And also a reminder, I know some of the games I played were pretty personal for some people, and they might not play, they might not get as far into the tournament as it would want to. That does not mean I didn't like it. That doesn't mean I think the game is bad. It's just we're talking about strict preferences here. And I bet that sometimes I am going to have to make some painful decisions on this. And that's just how this game goes, man. I don't think there's anything else I need to say other than just going. Oh yeah, there are two games that are not present. A2XT2 and another thing. Because I think that putting Talkhouse production games in here just does not really make any sense. Because I have an inherent bias. And I was just going to say, AAT would have won if it was there. Even though maybe it's not the best game, but like I said, there's an inherent bias. And I love my experience with AAT. Like that's just not an exaggeration. I feel like AAT is the perfect Mario game for me. Raocow and some parts of Special are a bit too hard. That could be dumbed down a little bit, but at the same time, like that did not affect the incredible impression that game left on me. And like I've said before, the finale especially, the last very last level special, that is what I want to play as my last project on my channel. Like that is channel finale right there. Except then things are continuing, but like it was moving. It was an incredibly moving moment too over time, just an accumulation of so many things. Lots of memories, new and old, and it's just it's at the tail end of an extremely creative game. A ton of weird little side references and like very oblique, specific niche things, but all in a package where it makes sense if you just want to play the game as a normal person, and that is so cool. It's just so well made. And yeah, and A2XT2 also. I mean, if it weren't for AAT, that game would probably be my top. Same reason. Bit of a different context there, where like it took like 10 years to finally be completed. The Serac battle at the very end of the game is one of the most amazing Mario boss fight encounters I've ever had. There are a lot of brilliant moments in that game. And I think some people would agree, including the devs. I think they went a bit far with like the towns are fine, but the towns and port together, that was a lot. Like, I think everyone agrees. I feel like at that point, it started to go to its detriment. I feel like it started to create an extremely uneven experience a little bit. And you got some people who are super love the port stuff, but then there might not be as interested into like the harder Mario stuff. Like it's It's two games. It's two game concept and philosophy just kind of merged into one, and it doesn't quite set, but I still absolutely enjoyed playing it. Wonderful time. Getting the cards was a lot of fun. The costumes are great, though I started to get into them a bit later in. Once I broke the Dragon Coin economy, and I could just buy things. Oh, now the more I'm thinking about the game, the more amazing things I remember. Like the arcade game, like a lot of the mini games in the towns were super good. And there's just a lot of extremely solid Mario in the various levels that were created by a bunch of people. It's an amazing package. It's just, it's just a bit of a clash. But those two are not in. So, let's see. So we got the thing here. Okay, and I can slide it like that so we can see everything. Great. I know that the seeds are homemade. Like the seeds are manual. And I can kind of see it. Okay, some of these seeds are pretty good. Some of them are a bit unfortunate. Alright, but let's get started. Starting with the showstopper here. Slay the Princess v Kirby Triple Deluxe. Alright, so this one's pretty obvious. But let me talk about Kirby Triple Deluxe a little bit. I enjoyed that game. That game was fine. It was a lot of fun. The game was weird, though. So every level has an EX, which is a world in review. Cool. And then you have the last world, which is the game in review, with its own EX stage. So you just kind of keep replaying things then. And then you get DDT World Tour, which is his own take on a game, with its own last stage, with its own EX stages. You end up redoing a lot of things a lot. And I feel like that's what I remember most. I remember mostly that, and Hypernova having pretty good ideas, but feeling like cutscenes on replays of levels. It's a cool game that's just like... It's a cool game that to me just falls short of being great. I'll have a lot of opportunities to talk about Slay the Princess, I am sure. But that's probably one of my favorite games of all time. But that's the catch. I feel like there are 3 other games in this contest, not even including the 2 disqualified ones that are probably some of my favorite games of all time. The year was packed. Delightful Adventure Enhance was a SMBX game I played at the very start of last year, before I went into A2XC2. I think before I went to Nonsense, there was like a long string of Marios, and that was part of it. Lactose Great Adventure, which I played recently, too. Sorry, the sequel. It's kind of funny having them... The 2 adventure game with Mario games. Which one of these would I count? Delightful was pretty sweet, honestly. Just very personal, really short package, really tightly put together. Lactose Great Adventure 2 was really silly. Lots of just stuff put together. Like, it feels like an old hack of just like someone finding all these resources and Central and just mashing them together and seeing what happens. And it's really funny. Like, it's really good. Of the 2, I am going to give the nod to Delightful, I think. I remember it, like, it's just some very, very, very solid SMBX, and some really good SMBX bosses. That's mostly what I remember. Like, so this is going to be the truth of things. The further the games are in the past, the less concrete my memories are gonna be. And I'm gonna make some choices based strictly on feelings. That's just going to happen. Portal and Quantum Conundrum together is really funny. I have to just give it to Portal. Portal is a very solid game. It's really funny. It's good. It's like it made a real impact on the gaming spheres back in the day, and yeah, playing it last year, I can see why. Very solidly made. I even enjoyed playing the remix, and I even played some DLC, which made things a bit more complicated. All that is included in the Portal package. Yeah, that's... Quantum Conundrum is fine. But Portal is great. That's the difference. Like, that's what it boils down to. Thousand Year Door versus Pikmin 2. I don't know. That one's not easy. Let's go back to that one. Legend of Zelda Guardian Legend. Let's go back to that one. Because this one is pretty easy. That one is Mega Man Rock and Roll. Fantastic little fan game. Not a ROM hack. It is a fan game. Extremely well designed. Pretty hard in places, but I think that's to be expected. Like, I feel like Mega Man fan games are just, in general, really hard. Temporal, I thought was a sweet little game, but it has two things I like less about it. I don't like any puzzles that involves puppeteering. I just don't care much for that, all that much. Like, it just does not do anything for me. Like, I think it's too complicated. My brain cannot work around it. Because, like, there are early puzzles that involves puppeteering. But by puppeteering, I mean you do some actions in the game, then you time travel, and then you manipulate that past you to do the movements you did in another place, in another timing. That just never clicked with me, and it felt bad. And the game has too much text. So I played a lot of games this year, in 2024, that had a lot of text. What I've learned about myself is that I actually don't mind a lot of text as long as it gels with me, as long as I respond well to it. And Temporal's writing felt like early 2000s webcomic writing. Like, it's fine. They're having a lot of fun writing it, but it did not click with me. And they talk a lot. Sometimes, at the very least. But yeah, no, the way Temporal is made is fantastic, but I just feel like the puppeteering, like, it scared me off of doing the pose game. And I didn't do most of the pose game except for one. And I just, yeah, I had, versus my Mega Man Rock and Roll experience, which was just like A+. Sonic Colors versus Halo 3. I need to give it a Halo 3. Sonic Colors. Yeah, no, yeah. I thought it was Sonic 4 there for a minute. I think it was last year. Sonic Colors, Big Boy Sonic Colors is fine. The Sonic Colors DS that I'm playing right now, as I'm recording this, is such a better game. It's like the same general ideas, but executed just better. I feel like sometimes Sonic Colors, like Big Boy, I don't know. Like, there's something off about it. It's already been too far away that, like, I struggle to give you, like, exact details. I do not regret going after Red Rings, because I feel like some levels would have been extremely trivial and just, like, nothing, if not for Red Rings. Like, there would just be nothing going on. But yeah, like, a lot of Sonic Colors Big Boy just feels like you're playing regular Sonic, but you have very pretty backgrounds, very interesting set design, but you don't really do anything with it. I remember the stage with the giant missiles that just felt like they popped at me out of nowhere. Alright, so Halo 3, I'm giving it to you for now. Halo 3's gonna lose against Nier versus Rain World, so spoilers. So this has to go to Rain World. It has to. One of my favorite games of all time. So, Nier Automata. I am mixed about that game. The combat is very fun, but it's very mashy. And while the post game has, like, and I feel like the mashiness of it didn't really prepare me for when they really wanted me to take combat seriously in the DLC. Like, there were some genuinely interesting settings and boss fights. Like, the Mecha Godzilla in the forest, all the big event bosses, those are fantastic. And it's surrounded by a big world where you just hit punching bags a lot. I went out of my way to do all the quests, almost all the side quests. I got all the weapons in the weapon story. Like, I enjoyed my time with it. But looking back, I feel like a lot of it just feels kind of gray. Like, there's a lot of work in that world. And that's another thing. I find the world of Nier Automata fantastic. I love the world they created with Jijimi. They spend a lot of time making sure you understand what is going on with the Jimmies, and it's so good. Like when The game is weird because in terms of show and not tell, the game goes out of its way to show. Because you got the first story, which is basically an introduction to the world. Then you have the second story, which you replay the same world, but you get to see things from time to time from the point of view of the Jimmies. And that is such a good idea, but it is such a huge time investment on part of the player. It's a big ask. It's like play the game again, idiot. And then at the end of that, like the real story of the game begin. That is daring, and I love that they do that. But I feel like the exploration of the world was more interesting than what they actually did with the story. That's just me, though. And then also you have moments where you get the opposite going, like the stories of the twin, and just like weird, like, I don't know, I did not like the style of writing, the light novel style writing there. Not a fan. So yeah, like Nier Automata to me is a jumble of extremely high highs and things I loved, surrounded by gray. Rain World, we'll get back to that. Cheta! At least there's Shedovic is a fantastic game that I absolutely loved. Nonsense is a fantastic ROM hack that I absolutely loved up until a point where then it got too hard for me and I stopped enjoying myself completely. I remember back during the Let's Play, like, I asked out loud, is it a problem that e-game can have such a wide disparity between its easiest moments and its hardest moments? Most people in the audience who responded, I think it was everyone, like, they said they were fine, and I genuinely think it is fine, but I just, like, the reality, I've said this before, and I still believe it. Not every game is made to be beaten by everyone. I think that's a good thing. The problem is, I'm really bad at taking that hint. And when a game is not made for me at some point, I refuse to listen, and I push until I break down completely. So I broke down. I still have extremely fond memories of Nonsense. Lots of creativity, lots of wonderful ideas, lots of wonderful levels. The map is fun, though, a bit confusing. I feel like that's all hacks of that genre. But I had a great time. Shedovic is unique. The vibe and aesthetic is like matches my own taste so well, it is scary. It's very referential, like it makes a lot of reference jokes, but it lands. To me, they land so well. And it's just, and it's matched with, you know, very good platforming. So I'm giving it to Cheta here. Cheta is secretly probably, you know, when I said like 4 top games of all time in this list, most people could name 3. I think some people would be surprised by this one, but it is. Sega and Sonic and Sega All-Star Racing versus Spyro 3 Year of the Dragon. That's a weird one. I'm gonna give it to the racing game. Spyro was fine. Spyro was really good. My order of Spyros now is 1, 3, 2, probably. Because, yeah, like, I feel like Spyro 3, I was told it doubled down on some of the things I didn't like about Spyro 2, but I feel like they didn't really so much double down as improve upon them. I feel like they took what I didn't like, they didn't remove it, but they changed it enough where I was fine with a lot of it. I thought it was a lot of fun, but Sonic and Sega All-Star Racing is genuinely a really, really good arcade racer. Like, it's genuinely really good. I went out of my way to replay the entire game after I was done with all the missions. Like, I think it's obvious it really connected with me. It's very pretty. It flows well. The drift mechanics are extremely natural once you get to them. I have to give it the win here over Spyro 3. Have I changed my mind up here? No. Let me think about Zelda versus Guardian Legend. Legend of Zelda and the woo here with, because it includes the BS Zelda. Wait! Is a classic game, a game of my childhood. Re-experiencing was a lot of fun, and playing the second quest for the first time, actually, game's kind of bad. Just whistling everywhere. What's up with that? What's up with just whistling on every screen? Guardian Legend was really cool. And it had shmups, but it had the salad monster. The algae monster was so hard. It's like the third boss. I don't know. Pikmin 2 and Paper Mario. Two Nintendo games from the same era. That's just kind of funny. Pikmin 2, this one is very recent, very cute game. Dealing with Pikmins is inherently a little frustrating, but that's kind of the point. I ended up enjoying the cave system. I think I like the cave system, but it did manifest a really bad habit in me in wanting to reset everything. Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door. I went in being kinda, this is an obligation game, playing this because I have to. And I left actually more positive. I left more positive about the Paper Mario series after Thousand Year Door than I did Paper Mario 64. The writing is genuinely funny in many parts. The fights are never trivial. Nah, they can get pretty trivial. But, you know, there's... I think I have to give it to Thousand Year Door. I think I have to give it to Paper Mario. It was... The impact I had was very positive. Well, I feel like my opinion of Pikmin, the series, didn't really change between 1 and 2. I'm still looking forward to doing the challenge mode, whenever that is. But I think I don't know. I feel like... You know what? Pikmin 2's writing, pretty uneven. So there you go. Thousand Year Door, taking it because of... I feel like better writing to me. Well, not even necessarily better, just more evenly better. Zelda and Guardian Legend. I don't know. If I include everything, BS had one of the music had sound effects in it, and that was confusing. I didn't like that. Like the BS experience was super interesting. Like it was weird in a very good way. Getting also a remix of the main map was a lot of fun. Guardian Legend was kind of basic. It had a Daikon Radish enemy that I didn't like fighting. But then didn't I just start bombing everything at some point because I had so many sun bombs? Sun bombs and laser swords. It had a little guy. It had super weird puzzles that just shoot the door or like just don't do anything. Honestly, I think I want to give it to Guardian Legend. This might come as a shock. I don't know. I think I'm going to give it to Guardian Legend. Maybe it's unfair because that game surprised me more because I went in knowing less. Because I feel like when I experienced The Legend of Zelda, a lot of the new things were like funny oddities or things I realized. You know what? No, second quest has walls you have to walk through. Those are so bad. Because it's just walk against a wall for like half a second. It just makes things slower. Yeah, I'm giving myself the right to change this when I get to this layer. But for now, I'm going to go with Guardian Legend. Pepsi Man versus Crow Mag Rally. 2 short games, 2 racing games. Kinda. It has to be Pepsi Man. Crow Mag Rally, I remember very little. You go everywhere, gotta get the spearheads. The controls could get a little frustrating. The AI could get a bit frustrating. The last level, like the very, very last level, didn't it break or something? Where I was just like way up ahead in the sub. Like I could not lose. Crow Mag Rally was a very interesting curiosity. And I'm not sad that I played it, but I think the reason why I have relatively happy memories for that game is that it was so short. Pepsi Man was a better overall package, though. Like, Pepsi Man was enjoyable to just play. Oh! The two rage holes here. E-Reader, Rampage, and Plock. You know what? Plock was functional. E-Reader Rampage won a Patapon poll. I think it was strictly out of, like, the curiosity of it. It's like, what? New E-Reader levels? Wow, that's weird. And so, without really knowing the quality of the levels, but the levels were fine, but I spent the entire series complaining about the camera not working. The camera with Plock, at the very least, if anything, is consistent. Also, 10-hit Boom Boom. Like, that makes things more interesting. Anthology of the Killer versus, that's, Solo Archipelago, right? Yep. No, that's an easy one. Solo Archipelago was a fun little experience. I don't really have an opinion much more than that. I feel like at some point you could feel the drudgery. Because as soon as I went into go mode, as the pros say it, like, the energy flipped entirely. It was neat having to explore and test my challenge on how to get boxes and whatnot. When would having wet be, enable me to do wet? But I think that, I believe I was told that my settings for completions were automatic. They were chosen by a robot, by RNG. And I feel like the settings end up being a little bit overtuned, and it did start to be a bit of a drudgery. Anthology of the Killer was never drudgery at any point in time. Webbed versus Rust and Moss, 2 wires game. A game where you play as a little spider and you do like physics puzzles, pulling at things, pushing things, tying things together. Rust and Moss was more of a video game where you got a gun, but you also got a grapple and you grapple around. Rust and Moss had really interesting and fun Fae lore. Like, we were playing as a bad guy. That's the thing. We were playing as a changeling, playing with the Fae. And, the game made it clear we were the bad guy. And it felt like it. And I thought the world was really interesting. The boss design was really fun. The weapons were fun. Webbed was really neat, too. I feel like these games are really close together. One was really cute. Let me think about it. Anodyne versus Robot Wants It All. Gotta give it to Anodyne. Robot Wants It All is a very strange experience to me because I could see the extreme level of high quality of the early games of the series, but the more we moved forward in time, the worse the games became. Like, especially when we started playing a remix, like, every single remix is worse than the classic version. And then you get to Justice, which was, like, made for the collection, and yeah, I just didn't think it was very good. Like, it's just too hard to deal with enemies, and the enemies just get too present. Then you get that really bad boss you need to jump up into. It's like way at the start. I feel like my memories of Robot Wants It All end up being memories of frustration. And it's really tragic, because I feel like if I had played just the original Flash games, I would genuinely have had 1,000% good time. I remember in one of the videos, I literally just asked out loud if the creator just, like, forgot how to design games. And he replied in the comments, and I felt so bad. He was defending himself, and in his defense, like he said, his goal with the classic was to push the limit of the engine of the game and, like, the game vocabulary to their very limit. And cool, I respect that. But even if you make something fun, even if you make something hard, it should still be fun and interesting. Hard for the sake of hard rarely works for me. For me, at the very least. Again, this is all extremely subjective. This is all my opinion. That's my opinion. So, yeah. Pizza Tower is one of my top video games of all time now. Pizza Tower is very good. Mario Galaxy is pretty good. Like, Mario Galaxy 2, I prefer 2 to 1. I think a lot of people assumed that was going to be the case. It is a more, linear game. It is and I feel like it plays to its strength a lot better. But then there's the green stars. which repeat the same sin that Mario Galaxy the first did, where they clearly had too many stars, and then they just started to add, like, absolute blatant filler, and you got green stars that are absolute filler. They're just, like, very dumb. Like, why would you do that? Some of the green, like, I'm not against the idea of the green stars. Some of them are genuinely really interesting. Some of them, they actually do really cool ideas with them. Interesting, like, location puzzles, navigation puzzles. And some of them is just, it's over the door here. Fart. Like, no! You don't have to do 3 per. Also, a lot of them, it's just triple jump into spin. You get it. Pow. Or backflip in the spin. So yeah, Pizza Tower is one of the best games ever made of all time. So, Webbed versus Rusted Moss. Webbed is cute. Webbed is super cute. But I feel I didn't think about Webbed all that much once I was done. While Rusted Moss, I did a little bit. I have to give it to Rusted. I don't like this. This is like, I know one of these is an 8.5 and the other is an 8.56. You know, like the difference is minute. But I have to make a decision. And I've made a decision. All right, there we go. We did it. Oh no, wait. Now we're round 3. All right. Well, I mean, Delightful Adventure Enhanced was a fun time. Slay the Princess was a lot of times. Not in the sense that it was a lot of time, but we went through the ringer with that one. Portal and Paper Mario? I have to give it to Portal. Both funny games, but one of them, the gameplay, appeals a lot more to me than the other. Garden Legend versus Mega Man Rock and Roll. Did I actually hesitate for a second? I did. Why? I don't know. But I did. Okay. Like, Garden Legend shows its age in parts and its design style. Meanwhile, Rock and Roll shows its age and how, like, everything it learned by what other Mega Man games have done, both official and not, and fan games. Halo 3 and Wayne World. Oh, I have to think about that one. I have thought about that one. Look, Halo 3 was a great time. I enjoyed Halo 3. More than I thought I would. I really like driving the truck. I'm gonna say it. Driving the van was a lot of fun. I just like playing a story from the 3rd game in was pretty silly. Like, the story did not work on me. I did not have enough I have enough context to follow what was going on moment to moment, but the greater story, finding John Halo's old girlfriend and all that. Like, I could get it. I understood the beats they were doing, but no. Rain World's one of the most important games I've ever played. So, sorry, Halo. Shadow versus, yeah. I mean, Sonic and Sega All-Star Racing. Fantastic racing game. At least there's Shadow Vic. Fantastic video game, regardless of genre. I think I will always just bias 2D platformers. Like, that is like my baseline for make a good video game. How do we start? Let's make it 2D and make it platform based. But yeah, like I don't, yeah. This one is actually weirdly hard to answer. So Pepsi Man, I didn't really talk about it in round 1. That game is really fun. It's really silly. And World 4 is way too hard. Like, the difficulty just completely explodes in your face. I think it's because it was only 4 worlds. Cutscenes are really funny, though. Plock! The difficulty kind of explodes in your face at the start, but it doesn't matter at the start because the levels are short. But in the mid-game, the levels become really long, and it becomes a problem. The cutscenes start really funny when Plock is angry, but when his rage subsues, it doesn't matter anymore. Pepsi Man is a much shorter but much more even experience. Plock has really cool places, but it's beautiful. The music is fantastic. Character design is very effective. It's very cute. The difficulty just overrides the entire discussion. It's all anyone could talk about during the whole series, me included. It's a problem, and there was apparently, I didn't see or read that interview or anything, but apparently the creators did lament. They did regret that they made a game so hard, so like even they agree. Anthology versus Rust and Moss. I think I have to give it to Anthology. You know what I said earlier about how I've learned about myself that I don't mind talky, text-heavy games as long as it connects? Anthology of the Killer extremely connected with me. Like, that game is all vibes. Like, the gameplay is very minimal. The gameplay is utilitarian, for lack of a better word. It's all vibe, but a vibe is so good it didn't matter. I love the Fae, but I love the Fae world of the Rust and Moss. I love some of the gameplay complexity introduced with the various grapple moves and super jumps and rocket jumps and whatnot. But Anthology of the Killer was just a vibe, just a run. It was just like, I don't want to say it's drifting through a dream, because I feel like using drifting here makes it feel like it was like effortless, like was frictionless. And like, yeah, you don't really have any like opponents or anything, but you do explore areas that feel like a space. And it works. And like, that's the gameplay. Like, even if mechanically what you're doing, it still feels meaningful. It's really funny. It's just really good. You know what? Yeah. Rust and Moss is also great, but Anthology of the Killer, it nails what it's going for. I'm actually not sure. Like, I feel no. As soon as I thought about it, Adelaide is really cool. It's really weird though, because you have the normal game, which is a Zelda-like. There's like clearly a like planned similarity with Link's Awakening. You're just kind of drifting around from dream spaces to dream spaces, and you do some basic little Zelda puzzles, some enemy clearing rooms and dungeons. When things get really interesting is in the Pose game, where you get to explore everywhere, like outside the levels, and going for like the special chests to get the full collection of collectibles. That's when the game gets really interesting, but some of the steps required veer into player abuse, and like it's not on purpose. Like the bunny, for example. Like, I don't have anything against that, but it's it's like purposefully making the game worse, but it does make it more interesting. Is it worth it? It is interesting. But if you ask me which one of this between this and Pizza Tower I like the most, it becomes Pizza Tower, like, immediately. Like, there's no real contest here. I'm sorry. Sorry, Milos. Two funny games. Look, I think this is when I need to actually talk about Slay the Princess. Slay the Princess is amazing. It is I think it is the first visual novel game I played. Some people would argue that Ghost Trick is one, but I mostly focused on the puzzle aspects of that game. But Slay the Princess is a visual novel. Yeah, like all you do is make narrative decisions. But the narrative decisions that you make are so important and they have such a wide range of effect. But they're normally effects you can predict. And even if you don't get them fully right sometimes, they make sense. And also, the game is absolutely incredible at being able to predict what kind of decisions you would make. Apparently, this is even more so in a pristine cut. So I'm glad I played most of it in pristine cut. Oh well, that and the sticker gallery. um, but Santa Princess was like a little event, and Portal was a great time. It's really funny. The portal puzzles. Some of them are like Portal. Once you escape the test chambers and are operating inside a building itself and the engine rooms and whatnot. It gets really interesting. But it's Slay the Princess is something else entirely. It's a love story. I feel like these are being extremely predictable. I think that the C's are made on purpose so that the top four get on top, and I understand that. Remember, the first, I forget, was the first one, right? Where Fury and Outer Wilds compete in round 2 or 3, and I was like, no, yeah, this is a tournament finals that we're getting early. I think they're going out of their way to make sure that doesn't happen again, which I respect. Mega Man Rock and Roll is an incredible Mega Man game. It is a Mega Man game. Rain World is its own unique thing, and I love it. Sometimes I hate it a lot, but I love it. Again, just Pepsi Man is very short, and it breaks apart at the end. Chedovic only broke apart when the game literally crashed. When I was doing the Secret Pose game. And yeah, this has to be Pizza Tower. And Anthology of the Killer. I've praised how its vibes, its exploration, its themes sort of made it so that the simplicity of gameplay worked fine, because it was, more about the world themselves. Except if you start to play a game where the mechanics and the video game part is one of the top games of all time. And I love the look of Pizza Tower. I know a lot of people do not like the mid-90s Nickelodeon aesthetic of Pizza Tower, but I love it. I love that it just owns it. I think it looks really cool. And here we got a predictable and safe top 4, but that's fine. That's fine because we get a ranking that's relatively accurate. Accurate to what? STP versus RW. Cheddar versus Pizza. Is it weird that I want to give it to Cheddar over Pizza Tower? Pizza Tower, I had a lot of fun with it. I mean, it shows. I went out of my way to get all the Chivos, which I never do. I mean, the fact they were presented in-game was, kind of telling. And getting the P-run, getting actual P-runs, actual beautiful runs. I did that for the entire game. I went out of my way to do it. I enjoyed the game so much. But it is ultimately I played the game for the video game. Cheddar. I love Like I love the vibe. I love the look. I love how it looks. This weird like mixture of art style. I love the music. See, y'all remember the title screen music of At Least There's Shit of It? Like, it was like this mashup. Like, the whole OST is mashup, and it is fantastic. I actually have returned and listened to some of the music outside of the game way after the LP was done. The music had such an impact. But I did the same with Pizza Tower. I've watched a few, like, music composer listens to the music of Pizza Tower. I did that. I'm not proud. But I want an excuse to listen to more Pizza Tower music after I was done. Especially Lab 2 song. That song is probably one of my top video game songs of all time. Crud, I don't know. Okay, Slate of Princess versus Rain World. Slate of Princess is fantastic game. I love the looks. I love the artistry. Like, Slate of Princess is an art project. Like, I don't know if some people see the game, like the thumbnail or whatever, and see that it's like black and white, like lead drawings. Wow. But no, it is done so well. It can go from extremely detailed to extremely sketchy, but it's always with a purpose. And it's always executed like perfectly like it needed. The various princess designs are so good. Rain World is a magnificent piece of art on its own. It is, I feel like there's just nothing really like it. You play as a little critter. You live in a little biome where, you know, animals do animal things. Like, yeah, sometimes it feels like they're a little you-centric, but it's easy enough to make predators attack smaller predators all the time. It looks beautiful. The sprite art is amazing, especially some of the more surreal areas. The rain, the titular rain from Rain World is so oppressive feeling when it happens. Like, it works 1,000% of the time. But the more I've been thinking about these two games, Rain World have given me some shockingly strong highs. But also, I felt so mad at some points. The game has made me so angry. Slate of Princess has given me many, many, many feelings. I felt joy. I felt sadness. I felt anger, but narrative anger. Never frustration. I have felt a lot. And is one of the games in 2024 that made me cry. So, here I go. Cheddar versus Pizza. I don't know. Like, they're perfectly even to me. Going at it from completely different directions. Do any of these beat Slay the Princess? I don't think Cheddar beat Slay the Princess, but I think Pizza Tower might. Which is odd. Chedda's so good, though. Chedda just does so many interesting things. But did it make me feel anything? Like, Chedda, at least there's Chedda has made me feel video game things. But the highs of Pizza Tower went higher than that. So, Slay the Princess X Pizza Tower. Two very distinctive games in terms of visuals and visual style. Two very opposite games in terms of what you do in the game and the commitments required. I've been rocking on my chair during this, so you might have heard some squeaks. Sorry about that. I just realized that. It's probably audible if there's not, like... Well, I mean, because normally I don't rock. Normally I'm concentrated playing a game. Sometimes I lean back. So sometimes also maybe my voice got a bit lower because I'm leaning back in thought. So sorry about that. Slay the Princess v Pizza Tower. Slay the Tower and Princess Pizza. I don't know. I don't know. Both games I haven't completed yet. Like, I got all the stickers in Slay the Princess, but there's a lot of memory left to do. I did all the achievement, and I did all the P runs in Pizza Tower, but I purposefully left some noise to have a reason to go back, as well as the Halloween FOMO. Is that a factor? Like, not really. Slay the Princess has made me feel very strong emotions. I have created an incredible emotional bond with the what are both the 3 characters and the dozens of characters of Slay the Princess. Both statements are true. You know, the headmates, the various princesses, and the narrator. Pizza Tower, I connected on strictly a gameplay level, but that's not, like, I don't want to just say that that's a lesser thing, because Pizza Tower is not going for emotional anything. It is a video game, and it wants you to play the game. And in spite of that, it creates really cool, unique set pieces. And it is such an amazing tool for self-expression. That's what stands out to me about Pizza Tower, now that I'm thinking about it. I've wondered if, you know, give 2 players of equal strength and ask them to do 2 beautiful runs, 2 P runs of the same level, and there's enough player expression that's capable that both runs are probably going to look different. Like, I'm not saying, like, going for a world record or something. Just an acceptable P run. There's enough loose and let there. I felt sometimes that playing Pizza Tower, yeah, I felt like I was doing a dance. I was doing a dance with a level. I was doing a performance. And when it succeeded, it felt great. Learning the steps actually felt great. And the steps could vary a lot from level to level. The levels did a lot of things to surprise you on the first run. Like, the game isn't not just good once you start trying to perfect it. It's also really good when you're playing it for the first time. The just completely out of nowhere things it's gonna put in your way. The chicken is in this game. Why? Because the creator asked. Ah. I don't know. I still don't know. Like, I have convinced myself that Pizza Tower is one of the top 2 games. And I have convinced myself that Slay the Princess is one of the top 2 games. I cannot convince myself which one goes on top. Like, I just cannot. I cannot. Like, I love Pizza Tower's music, so because I have nothing to say about, say, the Princess music, is that a bad? No, because it uses music very effectively. But it's like how you use music for a movie. It's not meant to stand out. It's there to enhance, and it enhances very well. it performs its job extremely well. And when you beat a full cycle, you get a little music album. So, man, this is impossible. This is the hardest thing I've ever had to do. Just airing out thoughts I have in my head here. Sometimes I feel like hunting for memories in Slay the Princess is too much. Is that a fault, though? Because I can just choose not to do it. And the fact that all the options are there is not a bad thing. So, Slay the Princess file sizes, video file sizes were very big and sometimes kind of scary to upload because I got slow rural Canadian internet, but that didn't impact my enjoyment of the game in the slightest. In fact, the fact that it did not impact it should be seen as a positive. Oh, turning that around, huh? Slay the Princess beat Rain World. Would Pizza Tower beat Rain World? No, I think Pizza Tower would beat Rain World too. For the same reasons Slay the Princess did. Pizza Tower gave me really high highs too. But with a fraction of the frustration that Rain World gives me sometimes. So, okay. Okay. Do I just give it to Pizza Tower because of the death I deserve, Ioli? Like, is that really is what's going to happen? No, that doesn't feel right. Okay, Raukau. Okay, that doesn't feel right. I'm finding a way to make a decision, and I say that doesn't feel right. Fine. Do I just want Slay the Princess to win then? I think that's how I'm decoding this. I'm like, here's an objective thing I like about a game. Does it make me win? My response is no. Why? I think it's because, my hearts of hearts, I think I want Slay the Princess to win. I don't know why. Beyond, everything I talked about. Okay, no, yeah, I need a tiebreaker. That's as good a tiebreaker. And like, I'm just thinking about it. And like, going in my head, okay. If I were to give myself top 5 video games I played in 2024, would I be cool with saying, in order, Slay the Princess, Pizza Tower, Rain World, Eliezer Shevchevic, Anthology of the Killer? Yes. Yes. I'm cool with that top 5. Done. It's done. I think that appears somewhere. I don't know how you decide the last one. Yes. Yes? What do I do with you? How do I predict the winner? Oh, here. Slay the Princess. Yay. Yeah. 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 Okay. Yeah, boiling it down to the top 5 makes me pretty happy. That's a good way to solve it. And I'm feeling pretty strong about it. But like, like you saw it though. This is like, I'm rating these out of 1,000. One game got 998 and one game got 997.5. Like, that's just how stupidly close this is. But I had to make a decision, and I've made it. And I'm sticking to it. Here we are. Video games. They don't even exist. What did I even talk about for the last hour. Ridiculous. What are people even watching here? What is going on?